Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. I'm Nicolette Hodge, and this is We Reflect the Light. Welcome, sisters and brothers. Today we will be identifying America's economic collapse, highlighting the fact that we are stepping into a time of unprecedented trouble, sisters and brothers. So, we start off with the Holocaust. The Holocaust, sisters and brothers, is the true name of our experience here in the hills of North America for the last 400 years. We endured horror. So understand that our experience is not called slavery. Slavery is only 1% of our experience. The other 99% of our experience is affliction. So the Holocaust properly identifies what we have endured right here in America at the hands of these devils, sisters and brothers. We were beaten to death. We were force-fed human and animal shit. They knocked our teeth out of our mouths as they funneled shit down our throats and forced us to eat it, sisters and brothers. Put a muzzle over our mouth so that we couldn't spit it out. Nor could we drink any water or ingest anything else. This is torture. We endured physical torture, psychological torture, emotional torture, mental torture. They boiled us alive. They snatched our babies from us and did unspeakable, unimaginable things to our children. And we started off as children. So they did it to us. We are our ancestors. So we experienced this, sisters and brothers. We endured the Holocaust. And we're back through the womb. All throughout the Holocaust, these devils raped the original black woman relentlessly. Raping us, nonstop. Trying to rape our seed out of existence. Putting our nation through genocide. However, just the fact that we're here today is evidence that we overcame that weapon of genocide, in which these devils restricted us from being intimate, reproducing with our own man. And the devil forced his seed into our womb and forced us to give birth to a hybrid nation of devils in black skin, house Negroes, demons. Demon means half devil, half man. They have our skin tone, our appearance. However, they have the bloodline of their devil father. They have the bloodline of Massa. So, half devil, half man. That's what a demon is. Part of the psychological torture that we endured, sisters and brothers, was the deception. They told us that devils, demons, angels, Satan, the jinn, they told us all of these things. They taught us that all of these physical people were mysterious spooks and spirits, invisible. They told us that there was a devil beneath the ground with a pitchfork, and that if we don't believe in Jesus, which is another part of that psychological torture, another part of that affliction, if we don't believe in Jesus, we're going to go to hell and burn forever and ever and ever. However, the word Jesus, that's a made-up word. You will not find the word Jesus anywhere in the original manuscripts. So it's a made-up word. It comes from Greek mythology. Jesus never existed. They gave us a picture of a devil, blonde hair, blue eyes. Told us that's the one that we need to be. That's who we need to love, accept, pray to, believe in. They didn't tell us about Joshua the Messiah. So the made up term, Jesus Christ, is an illusion, part of the deception, sisters and brothers. They told us that when we die, if we accept Jesus in our hearts, and if we love him, and that we'll go to heaven. Heaven somewhere that we cannot identify, somewhere beyond the sun, moon, and stars. And that hell is beneath our feet. Understand that everything is physical. We can identify everything and everyone around us. We are in hell right now. We're in the hells of North America. This is hell. We are in the furnace of affliction. Heaven is also a place, sisters and brothers. Heaven is our promised land, our home, our heavenly home. Heaven is the Middle East, Heaven is the Middle East. And our home, our promised land, is in heaven, is in that landmass. So we must understand our history, sisters and brothers. This is part of having a thorough knowledge of self, understanding what we came from, what we have endured, and when I say understanding what we came from, understanding, the best way to say that is understanding where we are at in time and understanding our history. Because we come from our original land. America is not our original land. We are here sojourning. And we're told that here in the book of Genesis. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, a horror of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be sojourners in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. But thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age, and in the 4th generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorite is not yet full. All right, sisters and brothers. Excuse me. All right, sisters and brothers. Our history. This is what we have endured. Horror. It shared no of a surety. That means that this ain't no guess. This is not a might be. This ain't no may be. This is not a critical race theory. This is a surety. That means this is a definite. It shared that he said unto Abram, Know of a surety that thy seed shall be sojourners. Sojourners means temporarily in a land that's not theirs. So that means that we are temporarily in America. America is not our land. We're not from America. This is not our home. And what we endured, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them. So we served America, and America afflicted us. All right, not only America, Britain is involved, false Israel. We served these devils, and these devils afflicted us. For how long? 400 years. That 400 years lasted from 1619 to 2019. How do we verify that? 2020 came in with that plague. So that's how we know where we're at in time. So the judgment started in 2020. And we're still in the judgment right now. It shares, and also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge. So it shares also that nation, that's the nation that we served, which is the Caucasian nation. So it shares that nation, not individuals, right? So that completely destroys the argument that, these devils like to say, well, I didn't physically enslave you. Well, they're part of that Caucasian nation, right? And furthermore, we're all back through the womb. So everyone is present here during the time of judgment. It shares, and afterward shall they come out. So that's identifying that we're leaving. Coming out with great substance, which means great wealth. But thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Again, go to thy fathers in peace. Well, where was our father Abram at? He's not from America. Our father Abram is from Arabia. It shares, thou shalt go to thy fathers in peace. Thou shalt be buried in a good old age. And in the fourth generation, we are in the fourth generation right now. So this is how we understand where we're at in time, sisters and brothers. In the fourth generation, they shall come hither again. Hither means here. So they shall come here again. So it's identifying that we're returning to our land again. And that means that, again, that means we're familiar with that land. So America is not our home, sisters and brothers. And our history identifies exactly what we would endure, how long we would endure, or the time period for it. And it gives, identifies that we're leaving this land and that we're going back home to our land. So all of that is in the book of Genesis, chapter 15. But they don't even read our history. The preachers, deacons, Minister Louis Farrakhan and his student ministers, they do not fully identify the Holocaust. Because to do so, right here in the book of Genesis, would point out the fact that we're leaving here. And it identifies that this is not our land, which they say this is not our land, but they stop right in the middle of this scripture. They don't read this in its entirety. And then they don't even identify the very next verse, which is our reward, our covenant, the Abrahamic covenant. In that day God made a covenant with Abram, saying, unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates. All right, when you look on a map, sisters and brothers, those two rivers are not in America. Those two rivers are in the Middle East, which the Middle East is heaven. And the land that's in between those two rivers is Arabia, our promised land, our heavenly home, as identified in the Supreme Wisdom Lessons, the best part of the planet Earth, which we have preserved for ourselves. So Arabia is our original land, sisters and brothers. The land that we come from and the land that we are going back to. Period. It's simple. However, these so-called black leaders, Louis Farrakhan, who is the chief demon, he admits his father is a devil. He is produced from the rape. His devil raping father raped his black mother and forced her to give birth to Louis Farrakhan, making him a demon, half devil, half man. He has the skin tone of his mother, but the bloodline and the nature of his devil father. And Farrakhan says that we ain't going nowhere. He says that he doesn't want to leave America. However, Farrakhan does not represent us. So he's part of the deception because he looks like us. However, he's not speaking like us. We want complete and total separation. Elijah Muhammad said that we would be fools to stay in the land of our imprisonment and that we are leaving America. Elijah Muhammad taught the Supreme Wisdom Lessons, which identifies that Arabia is our heavenly home, our original land, and that we cannot return until we have a thorough knowledge of self. So anyone telling you that America is our land, America is our home, anyone trying to get you to accept reparations is a liar and an enemy to us, sisters and brothers, which Louis Farrakhan is the chief demon. So this is our vision. One common vision for us to unite under, sisters and brothers. The destination is Arabia. This is the direction, sisters and brothers. This is our vision. So with that being said, our enemies, they don't want us to leave America. They're living off of us. So why would they want? They've gotten rich off of us. Why would they want to let us go? The book of Exodus tells us that they're dealing with us shrewdly. Just the fact that we're here informing you of that, sisters and brothers, means that their shrewd plans will not succeed, will not prevail. It shows that no weapon formed against us will prosper, sisters and brothers. So they wanted to prevent us. They want to prevent our multiplication. So they did that by restricting us from procreating with each other. If they even suspected that we were pregnant with an original baby, if they even suspected that we were carrying Abraham's seed in our wombs, they would torture us, cut our babies out of our bellies, and do unspeakable, sick things to us, sisters and brothers, using our babies as alligator bait, going hunting and feeding our babies to alligators. And the rape was so consistent that half of the blacks in America are in fact house Negroes, are demons. Half of the blacks in America are demons. And it was these devils' agenda, their goal was for all the blacks in America to be demons. So, if it wasn't for us, sisters, standing up for our nation in a time of need, we have been on post for 400 plus years, doing what warrior queens do. And we snuck to procreate with our original black man so that we could keep our seed coming through our wombs, so that we can ensure that Abraham's seed lived on to receive the Abrahamic covenant. It says, "Unto thy seed have I given this land." So, I mean, this is specifically for Abraham's seed. And our father Abram is identified as Abram here in this scripture instead of Abraham. So, the devils say that we are Ham. All right? By their own admission, we are Ham. They say that we are accursed black to be slaves forever and ever and ever. They don't have that part right. However, they say that we're Ham. We are Ham. So when you connect Ham with Abram, you get Abraham. So this scripture identifies that Abram will be separated from his seed during this time period. So we saw that in the Holocaust. We saw that in the Abram's vision of horror that we just identified on the previous slide. And here our father Abram is called Abram. So we are Abraham's seed. We are the seed of Abram. We are Ham. And when Ham and Abram is connected, you have Abraham. So by the devil's own admission, they admitted that we are the true seed of Abraham. However, you would have to have knowledge of our history and our covenant to make that connection, sisters and brothers. So here we are today. The Abrahamic covenant. We are also given a messenger of the covenant, whom we are seeking. And I'm paraphrasing the scripture here. It's found in the book of Malachi. However, we delight. We rejoice. Because the messenger of the covenant is bringing us a message the message of the Abrahamic covenant, letting us know that we're getting up out of America, letting us know that we have a door out of America's destruction. So as we proceed in the presentation and identify the different parts, how the economic collapse is going to affect us, understand that we have our own economics. We have been promised our own land. And this is more than a promise. This is God's sure and volatile word. And word is bond, sisters and brothers. So America's economic collapse is a benefit for us because we have to let go of this reality. We have to let go of this economy so that we can transition into our own land, having our own economic system, doing things exactly how we want it done. That's paradise. So we have our own land that we're going to produce our own paradise. We're never going to have paradise here. We will never have freedom, justice, and equality in a land of our imprisonment, in the furnace of affliction, in hell. And as I stated, we are given the messenger of the covenant, and he is the one to fulfill the Abrahamic covenant. It tells us that in the fourth generation, we will return to our land. So we are in that time period right now, sisters and brothers. So we've come this far, and we're almost at the finish line. So with that being said, I will bring in our next speaker to take us further. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters. David Oz. All right, brothers and sisters. We have a people who have stolen our identity. We have a group of individuals masquerading as the true seed of Abraham, and they're not who they claim to be. They're claiming to be us, the black men and women of America. Because when the messenger started telling the black men and women of America that we were the true seed of Abraham, they stopped and made they stopped killing the Jews and placed them in Palestine. So to counter our claim as being the true seed of Abraham. So the individuals that have stolen our identity is false Israel, which they're false. They're not the true seed of Abraham. And also, another clear sign that they're not who they claim to be is that they call themselves false Israel, which is obvious. False. Not real. And also they spell their name wrong. They spell it Israel. But that's not something that's real. Something that's real is real. It's spelled Israel. Israel. So they're fake. They're imposters. They are imposters, excuse me, who have stolen our true identity. And it's clear. The scriptures tell you that these individuals that's claimed to be us, it explains their true identity, which is in Revelations chapters 2 and 3, verse 9, both chapters. It tells you exactly who these individuals are. It says here, I have known of you the tribulation and the poverty, but rich you are. Okay, now it gets to this part, speaking to them. It says, in the blasphemy, right? Which is a lie, out of the saying Jews to be themselves, and not they are, but synagogue of the Satan. Right? Okay, we got another one here. It says, look, I'm giving out of the synagogue of the Satan, of the saying themselves Jews to be, and not they are, but they are lying. So you see, brothers and sisters, since they're lying, you see, since they're doing blasphemy, they're lying. It says that the ones saying themselves Jews. Well, isn't that false Israel? It says that they're Satan. It says the ones who have synagogues, right? Isn't that they're worshiping sinners? Right? And it says that they're Satan. Synagogue of Satan. So the scripture is clear on who they are. See? It says you are not Jews. You're liars. Your father is the devil. You do the works of your father. You know, the synagogue of Satan. So, brothers and sisters, these individuals are going to be made manifest soon. And the blasphemy is going to come to a screeching halt. You see? That blasphemy they're doing, they're lying on us. See? Because blasphemy means to ruin one's good reputation. Slander. See? And that's what they're doing to us. Chopping and butchering up our image. Making us out to look like horrible people. You see? Savages, fools, pimps, whores, idiots, dummies, clowns, you know, comedians, fools, you know, things of that nature. Not really upkept, clean people, dirty savages, hideous, ignorant folk. You see, that's the image they want you to push. Niggas, stuff like that, you know, like we're just a bunch of ridiculous people who act like fools and animals. You see, and that's the image that they project for people to see. That way they can successfully maintain your image. See, because not even yourself would believe that you are God's people by the way that they represent you. You see, so they the ones in control of what you see, what you hear, the music, the television, telling their vision, telling you what they want you to believe. Their stereotypes of you, and they have the demons pushing their agenda, paying the demons to misrepresent you, mislead you, confuse you. See, so he's the one in control. Hollywood's, you see, got it locked and keeping you programmed, keeping you believing in these lies. You see that he's telling and ruining your good reputation. You see, messing up your image, messing up you're right, messing up your image. Right. That's exactly what Satan is doing. And that's going to all be shut down. See, because Satan is the one holding you down from rising up. He's preventing us from finding out who we are with the true seed Abraham. And that's going to come to an end when he's destroyed. Right? So when he's destroyed, bam, it be made manifest who he is. You see? And not only that, and now you know who you are. Because they're the weight. They're the thing literally holding you down and preventing you from rising. That's exactly what they are. And that weight's going to be eliminated, and we're going to rise up, brothers and sisters. And like I explained, in that their destruction, which isn't supposed to happen. See, that's another indication that they're not who they claim to be. That they're not who they're claiming that they are. You see? Because it said when God placed his people in their land, they are not to be uprooted or removed. See? Which is a clear indication that they're not who they claim to be. That they're exactly what the scripture tell you that they are. Satan. See, which will be made manifest to the world once this event take place. Right here, it says, when you see Jerusalem being surrounded by armies, you will know that its desolation is near. Okay, so you see that. It says desolation is near. It says talking about Jerusalem. Well, who controls Jerusalem? Jerusalem is the capital of what? False Israel, right? Okay, now put it in the right context. It says, when you see false Israel being surrounded by armies, you would know that its desolation, its destruction is near, right? It didn't say redemption. It didn't say salvation. It says destruction, desolation. Meaning they're going to be eliminated. They're going to be terminated. You see, wiped out. See, what they're planning to do to you, it said backfire. You see, so they inherit what they say they do. So they're going to be destroyed. You see? So, and when that happens, that's going to be a clear indication that they weren't who they claim to be. And they'll be exposed as being Satan. And it's going to send shockwaves through the planet. Because the world is structured around the idea that they're the true seed of Abraham. And that's how they function. That's what keeps them centered. You see? They don't realize that they're off balance. That they're off balance people by nature. See, because they've put themselves on a pedestal they put one of their legs on a pedestal that allowed them to walk as if they were centered. But once this idea is shattered, then that pedestal is shattered. And now they don't realize that they got uneven legs. And now they walking around. Now they off centered. Now they off balance. So they walk around as if they were drunk, but they hadn't had anything to drink. So they're gonna, and boom, an explosion. The reality is crumbled, comes to an end. You see? So this is a big event. You see? And it says here, which is important for our people, this is a warning to our people, because this event, this desolation, right? Oh, well, like I explained, this is what's keeping you from rising. This was keeping you from everybody, keeping you at that low level, keeping you enslaved, keeping you afflicted, keeping you from, you see, find out who you are. So now you can, now you can make better decisions. Now you know what's going on. Now you can see enemies. Now you know you got second vision. You see? I mean, not second, excuse me. You got that second option, which is the Abraham covenant. Now you know that you have a reward for all the things you went through. Now you know that you God's people. And it says you'll be a fool to stay here in your imprisonment. See, that's what they don't want you to do. They want you to find out who you are. See, say you know better, you do better. And they want you to have the good information. They keep giving you the bad data, the bad information. That way you keep doing. You make bad decisions and you stay in the warp of doing bad things. You can't never get out of this cycle of hell. That's what they want. You in a miserable condition. They want you to stay in your miserable condition. You see? And they want you to be tormented because they thrive off your misery. So that's what they want for you. They want to keep you stationed in the way that they want and utilize you in their form. You see? But it says right here, as I explained, this is a sign to our people because, like I said, this is the weak. This is the thing that's holding us down, and that's why they set it up to keep you bound to this reality. So they can't allow that to happen. You see, they can't allow false Israel to be destroyed because if they're destroyed, it's not that they can't allow them to be. They're going to be destroyed, right? But they can't allow that to happen first. They can't allow you. They can't allow that to happen because you rise up. So it means they're going to attack you. So you see, so during this time, they're going to plan to attack you. You see, and that's what it says here. It says flee. It says let those who are in Judea flee to the mountains. Let those in the city get out. Let those in the country not into the city. For this is the time of punishment and fulfillment of all that has been written. How dreadful it will be in those days for pregnant women and nursing mothers. This will be a great distress in the land and wrath against this people. So it's telling you flee, 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 because they're coming to attack you. They're coming to take your life because, like I explained, well, the word is structured around the idea that false Israel is the true seed of Abraham. So they think they're being blessed. They think they've done a good deed by blessing them. Because it said, bless those who bless God's people, right? Bless those who bless them. Okay, well then that they wasn't the true seed of Abraham, and it means you are. And it said, curse those who curse them. You see? So that means that they're instantly cursed, and they realize their fate. They realize that they're in trouble. You see? And that's why I tell you, it said flee, flee, flee. See? Telling you to get the hell out of there. You see? It said don't hesitate. It said you'll lose your life. It said don't even go back to get your baby. You see? Which stamps the seriousness of this time. Telling you that that's it. That's that important. You can't even go back to get your child. If the child's not with you and the child happened to be somewhere from you, it says flee. Don't go back to get nothing. Said you hesitate, you lose your life. So you had to make it a decision during this time to save your own life. Because if you hesitate, you lose it. But that's what's going to happen, brothers and sisters. You see? Say great but dreadful time. See, this time of unprecedented trouble. A time like no other, never will there be. But the point is, you see, we're about to get out of here. We're going home. You see, and that's what they don't. They don't want that for you. They don't want you to escape. They want you to stay right here. You see, where they in their paradise, which is your hell. They want you to be in hell forever, and they're trying to make they trying to make your hell last forever. They want their paradise to continue. You see, they set it up in such a way that they're trying to eliminate you so they can continue their paradise, which is not going to happen, brothers and sisters. They're not going to be successful. So you just hold on, brothers and sisters. Stay tuned. Be aware. You see, and take heed to the information that's being shared with you, because this information can save your life. This information will save your life. You see? Okay. So with that being said, I will now bring in the next speaker. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. The war in heaven is the war that is taking place right now in the Middle East. Heaven is the Middle East. Sisters and brothers, the messenger of the covenant, Master Suleiman, Joshua the Messiah, has given us detailed information from the unsealed scriptures of the Bible that shares with us the characters and the outcome that the scriptures are clearly stating, giving us a clear understanding of what is going to take place and what this war or how this war is going to affect the world, the world's economy, how the war is going to affect the original nation, the original black man and woman here in America, and how this war is going to bring this reality to a screeching halt, snatching, pulling us out of the American dream, out of all distractions, into the reality of a total collapse of America's economic system. America's economy total is will be in a total collapse, causing the world as that we're living in to be brought to will be collapsed. Now, sisters and brothers, Revelations 12:7 states, and occurred war in the heaven. The Michael and the angels of him other to war with the dragon, and the dragon warred, and the angels of it. And not it proved strong, not but place was found of them, yet in the heaven. And was thrown the dragon, the great, the serpent, the archaic, the being called devil, and the Satan, the making to err, the being inhabited whole. He was thrown into the earth, and the angels of him with him were thrown. Sisters and brothers, Michael and his angels other to war with the dragon, and the dragon warred, and the angels of it. So this is clearly stating that Michael and his angels will be at war or go to war with the dragon and the angels of the dragon. Now, sisters and brothers, Michael is the God Master Farah Muhammad, who is the Shia Muslims' 12th Imam, who is the faction of Muslims of Iran, and as well as many of the resistance. However, Iran and Syria are the angels of the God Master Farah Muhammad, and the dragon, sisters and brothers, is the House of Saud, Saudi Arabia. And the angels of the dragon is America, Britain, and false Israel. Now, sisters and brothers, in this war, let me say it like this, Iran is at war right now with the dragon, which is Saudi Arabia, the House of Saud, And the dragon's angels are America, Britain, and false Israel. All these countries has came out and announced their entrance into the war against Iran. So you know, sisters and brothers, the dragon, the Satan, the devil, the serpent, these characters. Now, sister, the synagogue of the Satan is false Israel. The devils, America, Britain, the, the, the dragon, the house of Saudi Arabia. These countries that are based and are in the Middle East and being used to keep America's assets and America's availability to the source of energy that is being brought out of heaven or the Middle East. Sisters and brothers, these are the characters. These are who are fighting in this war right now. You have three nuclear power countries at war with Iran. And it states, sisters and brothers, this clearly states that the dragon, the great, the serpent, the archaic, the being called devil and the Satan, the making to err, the being inhabited whole, who is causing the whole inhabitants to err, who is ruling the inhabitant, which nation, this is clearly stated, this they're ruling the world, they're ruling the inhabitant, the whole inhabitants. That's clearly stating Britain, America, the two world powers, as well as false Israel. These are the three nuclear power countries that are ruling this reality as we know it. The other Caucasian nations comply to these rulers and always, well, in this time they always have. First there was Magog, Britain, and then America, Gog, superseded and is in rulership. So this is easily understood by the who the characters are, who's making the inhabitants of the earth air. You've been shared with that they're the false Israel, the synagogue of Satan. That America and are the devils, the Caucasian white man. Now, sisters and brothers, the scripture clearly lets us know when it states, and not it proved strong, not but place was found of them yet in the heaven. Let's read that again. and not it proved strong, not but place was found of them yet in the heaven, meaning they didn't prove strong enough. And there was no place found of them in the heaven, meaning they were no longer in the heaven. If you looked, they wasn't strong enough. That means they were defeated and they were thrown out of heaven because when they looked, there was no place found of them in the heaven. So they were no longer in heaven, no longer in the Middle East. And it states, he was thrown into the earth. Let's read. Okay. And was thrown the dragon, the great, the serpent, the archaic, the being called devil, and the Satan. So it's letting you know each of these characters, the dragon and his angels, was thrown into the earth. So they were thrown out of heaven into the earth. So it's clearly letting you know that the dragon and the angels of it were defeated in heaven and they were thrown out of heaven. Sisters and brothers, this is what the outcome will be of this war in the Middle East in heaven. America, Britain, false Israel, and the dragon, the house of Sod, will be thrown out of heaven. False Israel will be sieged and then destroyed. Sisters and brothers, this is the outcome of the war in heaven. This is clear, perfect mathematical understanding of what the unsealed scripture shares with us to keep us informed on what is taking place, to keep us informed and aware of what we need to know so that we will be successful in this unprecedented time. Now, sisters and brothers, this war is affecting the energy flow, which is the oil. The America's economy is ran on oil. The world's economy is ran on oil. It is the energy source that it is the source of energy that energizes the nations, that gives energy to the nations, sisters and brothers. And with the war escalating in the Middle East, in heaven, with Iran and America, Iran has blocked the Strait of Hormuz, which 20% of the world's oil come through, as well as other resources, fertilizers, and other resources that's needed by many countries to sustain nutrients for the ground to produce or grow food. Other things is oil to produce diesel, jet fuel, kerosene. Sisters and brothers, this war has has brought the Strait of Hormuz to to be closed by Iran. And now, sisters and brothers, the war has escalated. And the Bab el-Mandeb passage however, the Bab el-Mandeb is now being shut off by the Houthis, the Red Sea. And this, with this taking place, brothers and sisters, this is causing a complete strain on Saudi Arabia's oil flow, and they outsource even more oil that passes through the Strait of Hormuz. So this war that has erupted and has escalated from the House of Saud and Yemen is going to put an extreme pressure on the world's economy, because this also means that Saudi Arabia will basically be getting next to no oil out of Saudi Arabia or out of the House of Saud. Will not be that their economy will be shut down as well. Now, they have a issue that they are able to get small vessels or small ships through the Suez Canal, but it'll be very small ships, and is also going to be affected by the time that it takes to go around Africa, and not to use the Red Sea, and not to be able to use the Strait of Hormuz. So, sisters and brothers, it's stated that America right now has approximately 46 days in their oil reserves. And in continuing this war, which is going to continue, which Iran understands that they're going to force America into that America will be forced to concede, to get out, to they will be forced out of the Middle East, forced out, along with the dragon, the House of Saud, Saudi Arabia, along with Britain. And false Israel is going, America, Britain, and the dragon will be thrown out, and false Israel will be left all alone in the Middle East, surrounded by armies. And the scripture states, when you see Jerusalem surrounded by army, know that Jerusalem, that her desolation, that her Jerusalem's desolation is near. Desolation, what does that mean? Destruction. That false Israel, destruction is near. Now, sisters and brothers, in bringing this to a close, this war is going to cause the world that we're living in to collapse. So it's going to be a catastrophic event that is going to bring you out of this matrix, out of this dream world, and smack you with reality and snatch your mind, and it's going to snatch you into reality, into what is real, into what is really happening. So all the lies, the blocking, and the deceit, all the things that you think that you're not paying attention to, and that you think that there's no way that, you know, America's economy is going to collapse, that you still listening to your enemies, you still listening to the propaganda, you're still being set up for their trap, because they know who we are, and the trap is being, the trap has been set for our destruction, to keep us from rising. Because if they can keep us from rising, that they're trying to maintain their hold on their reality. Sisters and brothers, they understand who we are. and it's about to be made crystal clear to the world who the original black man and woman is. False Israel, who has been set up, propped up by America and Britain, put in, set up as God's chosen people. Who, what God? The devil. They're the synagogue of Satan. They are the God of evil. Sisters and brothers, their nature is wicked. And their wicked plans is to destroy us, to keep us from rising, to make sure that they can maintain control of their reality. However, their reality is being crushed, brought to an end. The seasons, sisters and brothers, are changing. Our time, the spring is coming in, and this winter, this extreme winter, the worst winter that ever, is being brought to an end. Their reality is being brought to an end, and sisters and brothers, America is going to attack all blacks because they know when false Israel is destroyed, that their religious eschatology, their lies and their deceit, it will all crumble, fall, and be crushed when false Israel is destroyed in the face of the world. That is going to cause everyone to see and recognize who God's chosen people are. Those that they called Ham. Those that were separated from their father, their bloodline, the Abram. And sisters and brothers, our time of being reunited with our Father and our land will bring Abram into Abraham, because his lost seed, who they called Ham, who they styled us as Ham, telling us that we're sinful and wicked and we're cursed black. Sisters and brothers, this is a this shares a lot. Just to know, they call us Ham, and the scriptures say Abram, nor of a surety that thy seed will be in this strange land where they will be enslaved and afflicted. Now, sisters and brothers, this is what we're witnessing in the world today. This is the outcome. This is what is going to happen. This economic collapse throughout the world, and it's coming to America. It is coming to America, sisters and brothers. So we share with you to go get you some gas while you still can. Put you some containers, get you a couple of gas cans, fill them up. Go get you some food. at least 30 days worth, 30 to 60 days of food that you don't have to cook, that you can move around, take with you. Sisters and brothers, you have to go get you some walkie-talkies. Go get you some batteries, a flashlight. So in the event of a power loss, you at least have some type of light. However, sisters and brothers, this is going to cause. I'm gonna stay off. So get you some light, some battery, flashlight, so you can be prepared for a grid failure. So you can be prepared when the grid just stops, when there's no energy whatsoever to operate it, to run it. You need to be prepared so that you, sisters and brothers, will have something to secure your families, your children, brothers, your wives and children, yourself, to secure them with until we come together, which we will, sisters and brothers, because we have a way out. We're going to eat. Food will be provided to us by the God, Master Farad Muhammad. Sisters and brothers, this messenger of the covenant, the breaker of the seven seals, Master Suleiman, has provided us with the Injil, the gospel of revelations, the key to the unsealed scripture, to the other scriptures, that unseals the scriptures. He has given us a detailed message that keeps us informed with what is and what will be far in advance from the unsealed scriptures of the Bible. That gives us detailed information where we need to be and what we need to do to be successful in this day and time. Why, what, and when we must do what we must do. What we need to do to be successful. Sisters and brothers, we will rise as a mighty nation, a exceedingly great army overnight. Our enemies are going to attack us all, sisters and brothers, to try to keep us from rising. Sisters and brothers, our rise is their destruction. They don't want us to rise because their self self um preservation is going to cause them to go out fighting. This war is going to have them trying to take, steal, rob, kill, and to take what they need. However, sisters and brothers, this is what is going to take place. We will be attacked before false Israel is destroyed. And with that, false Israel will be brought down, destroyed in front of the world, making the world to see and know that false Israel is not God's chosen people, that false Israel is not the true seed of Abraham. And all the facts, all the truth, the mathematics is going to point the finger, point to the truth, to God's chosen people, to Abraham's seed, the original black man and woman here in America. Sisters and brothers, I'm going to leave it right there and bring on the next speaker to take us further. Assalamu alaikum.
Assalamu alaikum, sisters and brothers. I'm Sister Fatima Hodge. Today I'm going to be reading out of the book of Luke. And it reads, men's hearts failing them for fear and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken. All right, sisters and brothers, this here scripture is identifying that men's hearts will be failing them for fear, for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, for the powers of the heavens shall be shaken, sisters and brothers. So this is identifying that just by observing what is about to take place here, right here in America, sisters and brothers, and false Israel going down, right, just observing the fact that false Israel is about to be destroyed, sisters and brothers, that alone is going to cause men's hearts to fail from fear. Because what's to come after that happens, right? Because we know that when they go down, that means, as Brother Malik shared, it would be a total economic collapse right here in America, sisters and brothers. So it said that men's hearts will be failing them from fear, for looking after those things which are coming on the earth, right? Sisters and brothers, is telling you the seriousness of this time, sisters and brothers. It says people's hearts are going to be failing them, meaning heart attacks, sisters and brothers, from fear, just from fear. Meaning the event hasn't even taken place yet, sisters and brothers. That's how serious this event is. Now we have to also understand that this economic collapse is also going to bring on a famine right here in America. On top of that famine, it's going to bring cannibalism here. And we are living out, sisters and brothers, the apocalypse, which is Revelations, sisters and brothers. And identifies exactly what will take place. The scriptures identify exactly what to look for during this time and what will take place, and gives you an idea of what to expect during this time of the apocalypse, sisters and brothers. Like I said, a famine will come. Not only the economic collapse, a famine, sisters and brothers. We have to understand these devils have never gone without food. America has never experienced anything like this, sisters and brothers, which is why it is identified as unprecedented times, sisters and brothers. Unprecedented times, meaning a time like no other. A time that me or you, no one has ever experienced, has ever seen, sisters and brothers. That's the time that's approaching us today, sisters and brothers. The scriptures highlights certain events that will happen during this time of the apocalypse, sisters and brothers, in Deuteronomy. It reads, her placenta which comes out from between her feet, and her children whom she bears, for she will eat them secretly, for the lack of everything in the siege, in the desperate straits in which your enemy shall distress you at all your gates, sisters and brothers. This is identifying an event that will happen during this time. It said a woman would, excuse me, brother. It says her placenta, a woman's placenta, right, was come from between her feet, right, and her children whom she bears, for she will eat them, sisters and brothers. Like I said, a famine will take place. People will be hungry. Sisters and brothers, America has never gone without food. Sisters and brothers, just imagine the time is approaching us. No food, sisters and brothers. Like I shared, the scriptures are identifying cannibalism that's going to happen here. People are going to be eating their own children, their own flesh. Sisters and brothers are going to be eating their own children, her own placenta. So that's why this is identified as unprecedented time, because this time that we're about to witness is a time like no other, sisters and brothers. And during this time, you are actually going to see these devils, which you think are angels, right? In their true devil nature, sisters and brothers. They're going to be showing you exactly who they are, which are devils. And we can give you a lot of explanation and certain examples of how these devils act, but this event here is going to highlight that for you, sisters and brothers, in your mind, because it said experience is the best teacher. Experience, sisters and brothers. And that is what it's going to take for our nation, right? To experience exactly what is being shared, right? You have to see these devils in action, sisters and brothers. And you're going to see that sisters and brothers are going to be eating their own children. But the scriptures identifying right here. So our people need a great shaking, because this is what's going to, that's going to, sisters and brothers, we have never seen these devils in full action. And they're going to be, sisters and brothers, shocking themselves. Because I said it's going to be a time like no other. They've never gone without food. They're going to be doing unprecedented things, sisters and brothers. It says right here in Jeremiah, and I will cause them to eat the flesh of their own sons and the flesh of their daughters. And everyone shall eat the flesh of his friend in the siege and in the desperation which, sisters and brothers, with which their enemies and those who seek their lives shall drive them to despair. Sisters and brothers, there will be no hope for these devils during this time. Sisters and brothers, no hope. Sisters and brothers, that's what it shares that. And I will cause them to eat the flesh of their own son and the flesh of their daughters. And everyone shall eat the flesh of his friend in the siege and desperation, which their enemies, sisters and brothers, will cause, which their enemies and those who seek their lives shall drive them to despair, sisters and brothers. So this is highlighting how serious this time is going to be. They'll be eating the flesh of their own sons and the flesh of their daughters during this time. This is how serious this time is. It's approaching us, sisters and brothers. And we have to understand that these devils put us in a constitution that's 3/5 of a human. They put us in a constitution 3/5 of a human because you have scriptures like this that's identifying exactly what will happen during the time of the apocalypse, right? Telling you that there will be a famine, right? You be eating the flesh of your own sons, your daughters. This is in the scriptures, sisters and brothers. So they plan to classify black people as food, right? So why they put you as 3/5 of a human? Because now you're considered an animal, right? In their eyes. So you're able to be eaten. Which is why it's very important for our nation to understand your vision. Because, sisters and brothers, they are out for our nation's destruction. 100%, sisters and brothers. And your vision, sisters and brothers, is the Abrahamic covenant, sisters and brothers. We have to understand that we're coming into a new season, right? And spring is coming in. Sisters and brothers, coming out of the worst winter ever into the spring, right? And all of those who are able to adjust and upload the mind of the spring will be successful in the spring, sisters and brothers. So we have to understand that we have a vision, and our vision is the Abrahamic covenant. And during this time, our nation will be coming together and uniting, right? So we're going to have to understand that we must be on the right side of this, right? Because you have demons going to be uniting, right? We're going to be united, but they look like us, right? But they're not. They're going to be trying to stay here in America when all these things are going to be happening right here in America, right? As I shared. And they're going to be working to stay here, right? Take over America. And they're going to be destroyed right along with it, sisters and brothers. Which is why it's important for you to understand what your vision is, sisters and brothers, which is the Abrahamic covenant, which the messenger of the covenant has come and given us the message about the covenant, sisters and brothers, and to give us our minds back, sisters and brothers, which is that Injil mind, sisters and brothers. Gave you your nature back, sisters and brothers, which is the 5 mathematical pillars of Islam. And right now we're operating off the devil's nature, which is destroying us, sisters and brothers. But soon we're going to come together through our nature with the 5 mathematical pillars of Islam. And no hair on our heads will be touched during this time of the tribulation, because that's what this time is, sisters and brothers, tribulations. And this is a time that we're going to have to experience and go through, sisters and brothers. And during all this, our nation is going to have to come together as one body, harmonic motion, and on top of that, getting our mind back, right? Because right now we're operating off the mind that the devils have given us, right? Which is hurting us, sisters and brothers, right? So during this time, we're going to have to be working towards our vision through all these things that's going to be happening, sisters and brothers. But it said, no weapon formed against us will prosper, right? No weapon formed against us will prosper. And all those in the light of the spring, which is the Injil, is going to destroy all those things of the winter, the mind of the winter, sisters and brothers. Sisters and brothers, with that, I'm going to bring this to a close. Assalamu alaikum.